appliances only, so your mom is definitely invited. Sometimes controversial, always engaging. It's the podcast that lets your voice be heard. It's the podcast that shouts you out. It's time to holler. Can you dig it?
If I could eat a unicorn one day through a Pop-Tart.
I like toaster strudels.
You like the jizzy part?
Yeah, I like the way it explodes
You
in
like
my
it?
mouth and to swallow it down. Oh my god.
Your tweets, snaps, Facebook comments, and even phone calls. Holler any way you want.
They used to give kids opiates to keep them quiet.
This is much less offensive than that.
JD, Brian, and Gracie. Holler at your boys and a girl.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Eh, eh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Welcome to Holler, y'all. Needless to say, we keep it in check. She was a bad bitch, nevertheless. My name is JD. What's up? Welcome to the internet with me and our friends. You can hit me up on all social media at JD Short. Right above me up here in the World War II helmet is my good buddy Brian. What's up, Brian? How you doing?
Dude, what is up? It feels good to be back. I am rocking the World War II helmet. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, why I'm doing that. It's the real deal. Listen to this. Thing's hard as a rock. We got Gracie. She's falling asleep. What's new? What's up?
So tired. Trying to recover, okay? I'm recovering.
What are you recovering from?
From being sleepy, obviously.
All the time, yes.
Shocker. We've got Trey Byus in the house. We're going to talk about what Trey does. Trey, you doing all right over there?
I'm doing just peachy.
Heck yeah. Thank you for coming onto the show. Trey's got some really fun stuff to share with us today, one of which is sort of localized to our area. By the way, we are recorded in the beautiful, wild, and wonderful Huntington, West Virginia. It is the birthplace of podcasts, America's best community. It's where you can go to have fun with your friends. Miranda says, hey, Trey, B-Ball, Gracie, JD, I know all these people. We're also proudly powered by CAMO Energy, some of the best energy shots in the entire world, I'm telling you. 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 200 milligrams of caffeine, nootropics. I'm telling you, this stuff is fantastic. If you share this show right now, Brian, tell them what happens when that happens.
Yeah, if you share this live video to your Facebook wall, we will mail you 2 of these guys for free 99. All you have to do is send us a DM, show us that you've shared it, give us your mailing address. These will appear in your mail. You don't have to pay for shipping. We want you to taste these things. This is a company, CAMO Energy. They started here in Huntington, West Virginia, just like our podcast. They have headquarters in Pittsburgh now, and they are global. They are in multiple states. They're in multiple countries. They're delicious. They're 250 milligrams of caffeine. This one right here is Rocket Pop. This is the most popular flavor. You'll know it's Camo because of the chartreuse power-up button. That's a gamer reference right there. And you can find them at camo.energy. That link is always scrolling below if you want to end up buying some yourself.
So it's a wonderful thing. Holler's a wonderful thing. Corduroy Brown's in the house. Hello. How are you, bud? So, hey, let's get this show on the road. I got a little toast for us. So, everybody, if you do have a beverage, Mr. Brown's got one. I've got one. Gracie probably has something. And Trey, it's all good if you don't. No biggie. Here's a quick toast. There you go. Get big gulps, huh? Well,
Oh, yeah.
Here's a toast, y'all. Put them up in the air. Here we go. Here's to the storks that bring babies and the swallows that don't.
That's really good, dude.
Link up at officialholler.com.
So if you go, you're on Facebook right now. Everybody that's watching us, more than likely, if you're watching us live, at least, you're on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com/PTPleasantWV, you'll arrive at a page that's very, very funny. It's called Point Pleasant WV, Big Announcements. And this is a page that Trey has created to tell us a little bit about the historical significance of Point Pleasant, Gallipolis, and the surrounding areas. But really, it's just a fun satirical parody page. They share some really great stuff. Can you give us, Trey, a couple examples of some things that you've shared that have gone kind of viral? Because that's how we kind of found you.
Well, so the initial very first post, I was bored. We had just had my first son. I was sleep deprived, and I was getting ready for work. I was running late, and I sat down, and I do graphic design. I've done marketing forever, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a picture of the flood wall, which has a beautiful mural down the side of it, and people come from hundreds of miles away to come look at these murals. And I thought, what if I put like a transparent graffiti on this and said, oh my God, reward for information related to the vandalism of our mural. And I did that, and I just put the name Sean because I didn't, who knows? And I thought, well, people are going to think it's great. It's passable. It's not great, but it was like a 30-second decision. Well, it got like 1,200 shares, and it was the original first hot water that I'd gotten into with the city, because it was, people were just calling the city like, what happened to the murals? What the fuck's going on? How did the cameras not see it? And, then after that, I just kind of didn't do anything, and I just let it ride for a while. And I would share like the occasional like normal news thing, and just regular updates of town. And that's the very first big one. That was like my big break with it. But after that, I would go a little crazier. We're obviously in the Bible Belt, and I wouldn't consider myself super religious, and I didn't realize the shitstorm I was going to open up. But there's a statue of some historical figures right along the mural. Well, I had replaced those with like anything you can think of. I think one is a lion, and one was some Buddhist statue. And I was like, glad to have these multicultural events here. And that took off a little bit. Didn't matter too much. People weren't really offended. The true actual big break after that was there was a lot of drama in town about chickens being available in town. And that's whenever it became my hobby. City council was to vote about the chickens. And originally the Facebook page's name was just City of Point Pleasant. It wasn't Point Pleasant Big Announcements. It looked and walked and talked like the city page.
Like the real one?
But I had tried, so I made just very generic letterhead, didn't think anything of it. And it was just a press release from Point Pleasant. And it said that they had unanimously passed the chicken ordinance. You could have chickens, but you could also have like goats, and they had to be 10 feet away from the property line, all these crazy things, and livestock checks during the hours of 8 to 6. And that was what really got me in the hot water. The city had, people had thrown around the idea of like, well, that's falsely using our letterhead, and that's fraud, and that's all these bad things. So I kind of panicked. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh shit, this is turned into something else. And right about the same time, there was a gentleman in Chillicothe, Ohio, which is about an hour, I would say hour and a half from us into Ohio. It's an hour from Columbus. And that guy had gotten arrested because he had like a City of Chillicothe police page. And at the time it was trendy to go after the fake city guys. So I was just, I don't know. I felt like I was shaking in my boots. In hindsight, it wasn't that big of a deal, but
yeah, because it's social media,
Yeah.
It's all stupid anyway.
We live in a weird time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for making it weirder, actually.
So you went through this, and I mean, did the city actually, like Miranda just posted down here, she says, then Point Pleasant tried to sue you. How could you? The Mothman will get you for this. And
yeah,
he pops in. He says he's a fraud, but hey, we all are. So did the city get in contact with you? Who did you talk to from the city? Nobody?
The city posted about it a lot, and there was one post, and I think they've taken it down since then. They were like contacting the city attorney and seeing what they could do. And I thought, I'm going to probably get like actually fucking arrested doing this. And I didn't think necessarily I'll go to jail or get any weird charges or anything, but I was like, they're pretty pissed at me. Because some of these posts, they look real enough to where people that don't take a second to realize how ridiculous it is, they call and they're like, what the hell? Another post that caused havoc at the city building, I had posted that they're going to put parking meters on Main Street in our town. There's no parking meters in Point Pleasant. Yeah. It's free parking. There's like 15-minute veterans parking that's a little bit closer to the courthouse. But that's really the only restriction. If there's a parade, it's a small town, so if there are parades, you can't park on Main Street. Well, I'd posted this somewhat official looking post that they were going to put meters in to fund a security system for GoMart. And it's like the dumbest stuff goes viral. And in my regular job, sometimes the lowest effort advertisement gives you the most bang for your buck. And sometimes with this page, the lowest effort stuff is just like pouring gas on a fire. I don't understand it.
There's a recent post you did, looking at your page right now, actually, it was a few posts back, where you explained that they were going to be raising this certain block in town and putting up a Dollar General with a roundabout next to it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what got him, is the roundabout. It's not the Dollar General, it's the roundabout.
Americans, especially Appalachians, are fucking completely confused about roundabouts.
They're terrified.
All 3 of them in a row in the city of Ashley, Kentucky, and people just drive through them, like straight through them.
Why not?
Because I don't want to have to turn.
Back in my day,
we went straight down the street.
Go straight. You just go fucking straight.
So yeah, of course, you mix something like that roundabout situation with the Dollar General thing, which obviously everybody knows the whole meme of Dollar Generals just pop up everywhere. But that whole thing right there, I mean, boom, that gets a bunch of shares and likes. You also posted one about like the city of Gallipolis is going to be putting a Waffle House inside of their Walmart. And
yeah, that went kind of crazy. And again, that was the shittiest low ever thing. I stole the picture from another page that had done the same thing.
Yeah, it was the same idea. You just made it look more official from a city.
And the city of Gallipolis page, that's the page that for well over a year, it was just like I would share normal Gallipolis stuff. And it was just like, hey, there's some event going on in town. I would just share it from someone's page. And then every now and then I'll sprinkle just one little off the wall thing like the Waffle House. I get messages on the Gallipolis page pretty consistently, and someone will say like, I'll pull it up. They'll ask questions about like birth certificates, and I'll say, I'll have to ask the town crier. And then they'll follow up.
Did you speak to the crier?
No, I always say, yeah, he wasn't available today. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
And then
he was working on his well.
Someone had messaged asking for vaccine records from the health department. I was like, we recently burned them all. And they just say, okay, thank you. Sorry.
Thanks. Cool. See you later.
Let's get a couple things clear real quick here, by the way. Yeah. For those tuning in, we are talking about the tiny, small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And if you aren't from here and you're confused, this is the home of Mothman. So you've got some Googling to do and have fun with that. There's a whole movie about it. I'm sure you've heard the folklore about it. If you're not Appalachian, this is funny shit. And it is such a tiny town, but they have a statue of the Mothman right in the center. And so the fact that like his stupid parody page is like really shaking things up and getting like real responses, I'm not surprised by that. It's social media. You could pretty much throw shit against the wall. Someone's going to comment on it. And hell, these days, dude, some of that's going to be bots, actually. You're probably getting bot engagement. You don't even realize it's bot engagement. And it's helping things because that's how stupid all of this has gotten. But for the everyday Joe, especially the everyday Appalachian Joe in Point Pleasant and then surrounding areas, they might really look at that as real shit. So the first question is, you were shaking a little bit about it. And what did you do to like rectify? Did you have to call your page a satire/parody? Is that what made you feel better about it or made things smooth, or what happened there?
Well, actually, from the get-go, from day one, it said satire/parody. I had done that classification from the get-go. Now, Facebook over the years has changed how that's displayed on a page. At one point, you had to click through a page's details, but because of all the crazy stuff over the last 10 years, it's a little bit more clear now. But when I first started the page, I don't even remember why I did it, because I had the page before I even did the graffiti post. It's just one of those things. I get a wild hair and I'll do something, and then later on, what the fuck did I do that for? But yeah, it's been listed as satire/parody the whole time.
That's hilarious. That's even funnier than what I thought it would be. I honestly thought you were like, you kind of had to make that change, and then that made the city happier with it. No, it's been that way ever since. People are just so dumb and completely unobservant that they don't pay attention to things.
I changed the name as like a mercy killing.
Yeah.
So that people wouldn't be looking, because just the way the algorithm works, I I was getting way more engagement than the actual city page.
Yep.
So they didn't. You don't stand a chance. And stuff was, I kind of started to feel bad. It's like, well, there are people like people's grandparents or, someone's mom from out of town is, trying to find stuff or message this page, and
yeah.
they're getting me, and sometimes like I'll be upset and I'll take it out on people, and like when they message, like I'll just however I'm feeling is the response they get from the city.
I love it. And so, yeah, I love it. So, a couple other questions here. First of all, can you clear something up geographically from your little area here, your immediate area of Point Pleasant? The difference between Gallipolis and Gallipolis Ferry. Can you explain this?
Yeah, Gallipolis Ferry is an unincorporated area that is just south of Point Pleasant. It is right across the river from Gallipolis, Ohio. I don't know the history of why it's Gallipolis Ferry, and you'll notice sometimes I go back and forth between Gallipolis and Gallipolis. They're the same thing.
Yep.
I think it's actually a French name. It should be like Gallipoli, but nobody says that. I can assure you that no one's ticking that box.
No.
A lot of times out of towners will call it Gallipolis or Gallipolis, and I like that better than Gallipolis or Gallipolis.
I like Gallipolis a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Gallipolis versus Gallipolis Ferry thing is confusing, especially if you're not from around here, because you would think that they would be very close to each other, but you actually have to drive 20 plus miles to get to Gallipolis Ferry from Gallipolis. I guess it may be 12, 13 miles to be technically in the right zip code, but to be where people would generally consider it.
Why spend all the money going to the Galapagos Islands when you can go to Gallipolis? Why not? Fuck it.
Gallipolis.
Gallipolis. Yeah. Gotta love it. Gotta love Gallipolis.
Third of the price.
That's the new slogan for the city. Gallipolis. Gotta love Gallipolis.
Third of the price. By the way, your stupid ass Waffle House inside of a Walmart, inside the new Walmart post, is actually what got my attention. And just for the record, for those listening, we are a meme page for the most part. We are a shit posting page called Holler that we just happen to have a podcast on the side to entertain some random Fridays of your evening, which is what we're doing right now.
And it's funny how that worked out, because it started off as a podcast with a meme page on the side, and then they flipped it.
It did flip it.
Again, you don't know what goes viral or what becomes popular on the internet. So that's just, it happens that way.
Yeah, and so that being said, the Waffle House inside the Walmart is what got our attention, because I think we hollered it, or else I was going to holler it, and I got sidetracked because I started to look through your page, and I was like, holy shit, whoever runs this is my sense of humor. And now I'm to my next question. Maybe it's more of a statement. I feel like you need to set up like maybe this is not your style because it's your page, man, and I understand creative control, but like I feel like you almost need like a random submission secret email or something to set up that I could just like shoot a message to whenever I'm 5 bourbons deep and I'm like, I've got a good idea. I want to see this. By the way, little Serge Tanky, and right on cue, he's awake and here he is. Just this is what everybody wants to see.
One of the more fun posts that you posted this summer was it was a picture of what looks kind of like a receipt, but it's a list of cities along the Ohio River. And it's called the 2024 Bang Bus Ohio River Tour.
The Bang Bus.
The legendary Bang Bus is hitting the road for its Ohio River Tour and making a special stop in Point Pleasant on August 29th. The Bang Bus, which is,
somebody's grandma.
That post.
Explain that.
Well, see, that post, the reason that I did that, and that's one of the things, I put a bunch of effort into it and I thought it would take off, and I got 2 shares. And again, the Waffle House post, random, I was bored, just copy and paste, replaced everything with Gallipolis, got 1,300 shares on the Gallipolis page. But the Bang Bus post, there was actually a Flotsam circus, and that was just the schedule from the Flotsam circus that was going through all these towns. And I'm like, it'd be funny if I just put the Bang Bus logo on it and people just would share it, because it's got all these towns that, even I would say, a lot of your viewers would recognize, because it's like Cincinnati, Viva, Indiana, all these different places. Like, wow, that would make sense. That's crazy. But no, 2 shares, just 2 pity shares.
When do you think your best ideas come to you?
That's a tough one. See, again, what I thought was one of my best ideas, only 4 shares. It was it's in front of a school and it says violators will be prostituted. And it's like, hey, who did this? This vandalism is not acceptable near a school. 4 shares. And I would say probably when I first wake up, and then one of my business partners and my coworker, if I'm talking to him going over a bridge close to home, I have like my best golden cogs ideas going across this bridge. And sometimes I'll like hang up and just pull up voice memos and tell myself like, hey, don't forget to do this.
Yeah.
Because if I get it out of me before I get off the bridge, because usually traffic backs up a little bit, I'll forget about it and it just never happens.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that a lot from my creative side.
There's something magical, well, not magical, but very definitely weird about bridges around Point Pleasant. So,
Oh, yeah, very true. Hey, we got Andrew Lockhart in the house. He's part of the Do Bros. We got to shout them out. # Do Bros. These guys are fucking crazy. This is the Texas crew. Mostly, it's more than just Texas, but this is some of these guys. We got Big Scott in that. Big Scott Collar, another mullet joining Holler. Big Scott's in Kentucky, by the way. We got Texas, Kentucky.
Big Scott says the best ideas always come while you're on the crapper and nothing to write them down with. What are you doing on the crapper without your phone, Big Scott? What the fuck?
Gotta write it down virtually, man.
Voice memos too. That way you don't have to use your crappy fingers.
Hey, let's pause right here, Trey. We've got plenty more questions for you. We're definitely gonna have some fun, have some drinks. Let's play around a Family Feud because this is what the people join for. They want to win some of this CAMO energy or just compete in general. It's Family Feud time. You guys already know. All right, so we're going to pull up a list of questions here. Trey, how often do you use AI, by the way?
Pretty often.
I figured.
Not for the posts, very once in a blue moon for the posts, but I use it. One time I tried to use it to get ideas, and they all sucked.
Yeah.
So I used it to write the Dollar General roundabout post.
I love it.
Some of those posts stink of AI, and that's one of them.
They are a little better when it seems like what you're writing about is sort of kind of blandish. That's when they're okay with doing it. If you really want to create creative ideas, AI does not do that. Because all AI
not at all.
Does, it just soaks up everything else and spits out something it thinks you want. It ain't the way it works. Now, when it starts really in the future, when the generative stuff starts getting crazy, that's when stuff's going to get wild. We're about to see that very soon.
Let's send out the bat signal one more time here. So you guys know what's up. It's Family Feud time, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to pose the question. We're looking for the number one answer. Gracie is the judge. Don't judge her because your screen's going to show your answer a little bit faster. You're on your own internet. Gracie is the ultimate judge here. She will tell you whose answer came across first. Guess as many times as you want. We're just looking for the number one answer, so have at it. Here we go. First person to get 2 questions right, you're going to win a CAMO variety pack. Make sure you DM us your mailing address. You don't have to pay shipping. Just DM us your address. We're going to send you 2 of these little energy shots. We want you to have them. CAMO Energy, dragon fruit right here. Okay, here we go. First question. Name something you'd hate to find in your bed after a one-night stand. Name something you'd hate to find in your bed after a one-night stand.
So, Trey, while we wait on the audience to respond to this one, sometimes I would just like to ask little micro questions of our guests while we're waiting on our audience responses. One of which is, now again, we've been talking about the Point Pleasant WV big announcements page, which is just facebook.com/PTPleasantWV. It comes up that way. And that looks pretty particularly real. But you also run a page for the city of Gallipolis, or Gallipolis, as we've been saying it. Where can you find that one? Do you remember how to pull that one up?
Yeah, one sec. That one is It actually might not have its own URL. One sec.
Miranda's guess is an STD. No, you cannot find a puddle of STD in your bed after a one-night stand. Keep throwing the guesses out there, guys.
Yeah, so I just pulled it up. Sorry, Trey, just to help you out. But it doesn't have a actual profile link. But if you looked up the city of can't not say Gallipolis. The city of Gallipoli Ohio, or Gallipolis, Ohio. You'll see one that is a satire parody page. So that explains that there. So you said earlier too that you started the Point Pleasant page just sort of on a whim, and you didn't even post anything for the longest time. Were you just kind of camping on it, like?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why either. It's just one of those things. Again, your best ideas come at the weirdest moments. I made it and just let it cook for a while. It got a bunch of, the City of Gallipolis page has significantly more followers and more likes, but the City of Point Pleasant one, it got like 1,000 or 1,200 without hardly anything, just existing.
Okay, let's pause right here. We've got the number one answer in the chat. Number one answer is going to be bodily fluids or mystery stains. So Miranda takes that one. But in all fairness, she should have taken it for this answer. A baby? ? I mean, yeah, that's exactly probably the worst thing that could be in your bed after a one-night stand. Lots of reasons, actually. We're starting to feel like a Point Pleasant, West Virginia big announcements post. I want to make sure I said that correctly. We have to be official because we are official. We are officially unofficial. Damon, what's up? Damon, what's up, dude? Let's go. We're playing Family Feud right now. We are posing a question, looking for the number one answer in the chat. Guess as many times as you want. Miranda's on the board with one. Here we go. Give me another word for gross. Give me another word for gross. First one to type it takes the point.
I'm going back to some of the older posts and everything, and I mean, from 2 years ago, you even posted just simply, hey, now, there are 3 warnings that this page is fake, and hell, one of them is in the name. That's fantastic.
And for those tuning in, Trey, he runs a parody page for essentially his hometown area, probably wherever you all are from. I'm sure there's already someone on the internet doing the same damn thing. So we all know those parody pages where they make fake news look like real news, and you got like people's like boomer parents and grandparents on there, and even older Gen X. They're all on there arguing amongst each other, not understanding the parody of the things somehow, some way. They're not understanding the parody of things. I don't know, but hilarious nonetheless. Guys like this make the world go round. This is why we got him on the podcast.
What was that? The question, the Family Feud question again, Brian?
Okay, so the question was, give me another word for gross. Number one answer is in the chat. The number one answer is disgusting.
Okay. Oh, couldn't hear you, Gracie. I think that your audio's gone.
Oh yeah, her audio is gone.
Her audio is gone. So
audio's gone. Gracie's audio is gone.
We're just going to look at you. Who does she say? Who won that one?
Could it be Big Scott? Big Scott with disgusting. I'm trying to make sure no one said it before him. We're just going to call it Big Scott. I'm not seeing anyone before him. Number one answer is disgusting.
Yep, there you go. It's confirmed. Gracie is she's nonverbal today. She is going to be.
She'll pull through prayers, thoughts and prayers for Gracie. Every dollar donation gets Gracie one step closer to streaming live. And there she goes.
All right.
$0 gets you. She's gone. Okay, so
she might pop back on. Who knows? We'll see.
And by the way, you'll notice that Gracie will do this like throughout random shows, and this has been the case for years, by the way. And so you'll just wonder, what the fuck is happening over there? Is something chewing on wires? Are wires exposed? Is she sitting in a puddle of water, perhaps? And the computer is just wet and then it's dry. What's happening? We don't ever know. Okay, next question. Tell me the most common punishment parents give to their kids. Tell me the most common punishment that parents give to their kids.
So now I've pulled up when you talk. Now I've pulled up when you talked about the ordinance that the city council passed to allow them to stop.
Yeah.
This is hilarious because there are so many little clues inside of it that you can tell it's not real. For example, it doesn't say for immediate release; it says for immediate release.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, it's not that it's not that uncommon for official documents to have shitty typos on them. I mean, it's obvious. We see that a lot with like presidential announcements and stuff. So it's like, you also had to post and kind of back it up. You had to say, I had to edit this post and the name of the page because the city says they're going to sue me. And if you believe anything that you read on the internet.
Hey, by the way, we're going to pause right here. Number one answers in the chat. People said this several times. The number one answer is grounded. It's just grounded, but we had several grounded guesses. So whoever is the first grounded, we're going to give them the point. Gracie, you have no audio. You need to either like log out or something. I read your lips though. You did say Miranda.
Yeah.
Miranda is the number one grounded from phone, and I believe that's 2 points for Miranda, right? Like,
yeah.
Can we confirm? So Miranda's our winner.
Miranda wins.
So if you guys stick around, we'll play again if enough eyes are on the show. And by the way, we got some new joiners. We want to shout out Damon, whose guess was I'm gonna whip that ass. Summer says the belt. It was starting to get very violent, so we had to just cut the question off and go with grounded. The answer.
Yeah.
Miranda, you win the CAMO Energy. Congratulations.
Well
Name
done.
your favorite flavor.
Well done, Miranda. Yeah, and we'll get them off to you. So Trey, before we move on to the next sort of deal, you had also told us sort of in the pregame that you also do a print servicing company called River Print, correct? Jamie?
Yes, I do.
Jamie Richmond, what's up?
What's up, Jamie? So what is River Print? What do you guys do, and what is some of the things that you guys do for your community and things like that?
Well, River Print, we print anything that you can think of. So we do T-shirts, banners. We're more than half the price of anybody else's banners. Pretty much always, within 2-day turnaround time. Started it with the owner of the company I started working for a few years ago, and one of my best friends, and the manager of that same company.
In January 2017,
sorry, my Siri started talking.
Labor
What
force
the fuck is going on? The robots, they're angry.
What the hell? Sorry. That was weird.
Oh, mine started doing that the other day, and I unplugged her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just
put
her down right here.
You gotta put her down, yeah.
Take over. So sorry about that. Yeah, so you guys are doing screen printing, such. Oh, Damon pops in. He says, by the way, my dad was from West Virginia, which is why this Florida boy loves y'all so much.
Damon, I wonder where from in West Virginia. You should ask.
Yeah, you gotta figure that out. And Damon, you gotta come up and see the new bar, man. You gotta bring it on. But Trey, so it's a lot of screen printing. You do. Do you guys also make do you do like any sort of ceramic stuff, or do you do anything sort of in that sense?
We actually don't do any screen printing. So we have a large format. It's like a 60-inch printer. So we do canvas prints. It's a latex-based printer, so we can print. When we make T-shirts, we print the transfer, and then we have a cutter, the plotter that cuts those designs out, and we press everything here. And the biggest thing that we're proudest of is whenever we do these team jerseys for schools or even churches, businesses, whatever cause there is, or if it's a school, obviously just the team, we donate 22% of our profit back. And we're very transparent when we set up like an online store. We show, especially when it's to like a coach or an event organizer, we show them our cost on the shirt, how much it costs us to do everything, and we tell them exactly how much money we're going to make. And then we say, hey, 22% of this is yours. And the reason we're able to do that, we started the business not to replace somebody's income, which a lot of times with these print shops, people will buy a Cricut and they say, all right, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to make T-shirts. Can't do that. And then that's whenever you have the people that'll charge $20 or $30 for your normal $15 throwaway T-shirt or a free T-shirt. And that's how we're able to offer pretty much the same pricing as like a giant company like Vistaprint or any of these like direct print services like Printify. But we're pretty proud of it. We've been doing it for about 2 years, and
Hey, that's breakthrough. That's breakthrough right there, dude. If you can do it for longer than a year or even 2 years, then you've got a system set up. That's pretty great.
Transparency is cool. Transparency is awesome, dude. That's awesome.
The craziest thing with the print shop, I got into government contract. I really like the movie War Dogs. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
Oh yeah, I own it.
I wouldn't call it a favorite movie. I just liked it a lot. So I thought we'll get into contracting. Well, I decided to bid on a contract to make 1,000 signs for the state of Hawaii. And in hindsight, I now realize why nobody ever got the fucking contract. Because you realize how expensive it is to ship something to 1,000 metal signs to Hawaii, and how much of a scramble that was, and how crazy it was to make them. And we got it done. We won the bid. We got it done. But
so do you roughly what did you? I mean, you don't have to say, by the way, but I'm just like, did you turn like a admirable profit off of that? That's crazy. It's a crazy story.
Yeah, we made after labor and materials and everything, we ended up clearing like $5,000.
Hey, by the way, let's pause and talk about War Dogs for a second, because first of all, I own that on Blu-ray, but funnily enough, I own it twice on Blu-ray. It's by accident. I have an app that tracks my movies that I buy because I own so many. I own like 450 some movies. So anyway, because that's my thing. So anyway, I have War Dogs on there twice, and I'm part of like a Blu-ray collectors group online, and like I've been actively trying to trade War Dogs for another movie. I'm just asking, like, somebody just give me something. I will give you War Dogs on Blu-ray. Just give me something that's not War Dogs. We'll call it even. So that's really funny that you bring that up. I own it twice.
Sucking on chili dogs.
Miranda, yeah.
Please read that. Thank you.
She pulls something up. She says, "Wait, please, boys. We need to talk about the profile pic of the page on Facebook for the Point Pleasant, West Virginia big announcements. How do you explain the name? How to say that phrase?
Tawindawee.
Tawindawee.
Yep.
This is Native American. Is that what this is?
So this is like an obelisk at the state park, or the Tawindawee State Park, but the logo you put on your page, instead of saying Point Pleasant, it says Not Pleasant, and that obelisk has balls.
Yeah, the city went through a huge rebranding. The people who did it did a really great job of making a new logo for the city, and that was the original profile picture for the fake page. I just robbed that from the city page, and I thought, well, at least now if somebody really buys into something off that page and they share it, that profile picture is there. It's got the giant scrotum on the bottom of the Tawindawee monument. It says Not Pleasant. So my conscience is clear after that. If you
should be able to
swap, all that and saw it.
Yeah, you should be able to swap and show the shared screen that I just did.
Hold on. Let's throw Gracie down for a second. There goes Gracie.
Bye, Gracie. And here should be the logo if you can pull it up. Oh, there it is.
Well, I can't see it on my end though, man. I don't know what's going on with the shared screen.
Well, it's there. It's there. It's got the. Hopefully, Trey, you can see it too in the corner.
Got nothing.
Well, it's coming up on here, so I would assume it's going to be happening on the podcast. But
it might be a local share thing going on, but yeah, we'll fuck with it. Anyway, it's got balls. It's got a ball sack.
It's got balls on. Yeah.
Gracie's back just like that.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Gracie. You're back. Congratulations.
Okay. Well, I just want you to know I'm watching the live stream on my phone, and it did not show up on the live stream. So no one saw it but Jake. Congratulations.
Never mind.
So, by the way, let's get back to Damon for a second. We asked where his dad is from. His dad passed on Sunday. He can no longer ask.
I'm sorry, pal.
Sorry, buddy. My condolences to you and yours. And, yeah, you got to come up and visit so that we can hang and we'll talk about it. So, yeah, anyway, going from statues with balls to that. That's great. What a wonderful transition. I say let's do some poll questions and
let's go.
Talk out to Holler Nation. What do you say?
We've got some good ones on there, too, as a matter of fact.
Send your dick pics to Gracie at officialholler.com.
Yes. So I'm going to go first with mine here. My officialholler.com. For all your Holler needs, you can listen to or watch all of our old episodes. It's fun stuff. So my question this week was, what would you do And I'm gonna go through the audience first, then we'll go around the table with our own answers to it all. But my question this week was, what would you do if you woke up tomorrow and all of a sudden it was the year 2005?
I love this question.
And Damon, we can't wait to meet your wife as well, bud.
Hell yeah, Damon, bring it
Bring
on.
on up. Come up to West Virginia, man. Come hang out with your peeps. What would you do? What would you do if you woke up tomorrow and it was 2005? So I'm going to walk through here the posts that people had said here. Mo, she said, I'm going to listen to emo bangers on the radio. Hell yeah, back when emo was real. Corey, he's going to invest in some Amazon stock. Yeah, 2005 sounds about right. I think around that time, all they did was sell books. So there you go. Buffy, what's up? Big friend of the pod. She said, I'm going to buy a house for 20 cents and a ring pop. Sophie says, I'm going to tell myself to stop wearing so much eyeliner. That's interesting. That was definitely a time. I wore eyeliner back then. So Brian has now posted a bunch of really fun images, one of which was some GTA. He posted a picture of Tom from MySpace, as well as AOL Instant Messenger. Wow.
Tom.
I mean, I think by that point everybody had kind of switched to text messaging, but yeah, it was still there. JJ pops in and says, I'm going to update my top 8 on MySpace. Good idea. I can't believe that was a thing, that we actually could publicly rank our friends.
Yeah, dude. That's why.
And people got taken off, you know?
But wait, were you on MySpace and got on them weird sites where you could just add millions of people?
Yeah.
Or was that only me?
Oh,
okay.
I was in a band. Remember, I was in a band that was very popular.
No, but like these are strangers, not like you put your MySpace username or URL or something in there and people you just friends all over. I have a girl that I'm friends with that we've been friends for ages because of one of those. It's just I just think that
I'm gonna keep going here. Michelle, she says, I'm gonna dump whichever asshole that I was dating back in 2005. That's good. Ashton said, I'm gonna put a future bet on Tom Brady. Damn, it's a good choice right there. Okay, is it Capo or Capo Mule? I think it's Capo Mule. I'm gonna buy all the Oxy 80s I can get my hands on because he likes to do drugs.
The fucking Wolf of Wall Street over here. Let's go.
Drugs. They're meaningful and beautiful. Matt says, I'd buy a cheap stock for a company I know would explode in the next 4 years. Then I'd sell that in 2009, assuming time is linear at this point. Yeah, that makes a little sense. And then I would buy Bitcoin and a house. That's a good idea. Bitcoin actually didn't exist until 2008. So, yeah, that would be actually kind of a smart deal. And then this last one here is from Miranda. She says, I don't know, whatever a 5th grader does. How's that make you in B-ball field, JD? Old? Good.
Oh, wow. There's that shade. By the way, I love this year.
No, you're not getting any younger either, Miranda.
Yeah. You might want to go out and kick the tires a little. You know what I'm saying? I like this year that JD posed because the iPhone doesn't exist yet, by the way. So we're still just shitty phones. We don't care as much as we do now at all.
Yep.
Trey, does this make sense to you? Like, can you picture the year 2005?
Social media only existed on computers, on, fucking real deal computers, not in a phone situation. So there was a bit of a, little shift there. So anyway, let's go around the table here. Brian, we'll start with you. If you woke up tomorrow and all of a sudden it was 2005, what would you be doing?
First of all, I'm logging into MySpace. I made myself a little list here. I love this question a lot, by the way. Logging into MySpace. I'm thinking about like shows that could exist of like up and coming artists that we could have caught like right away. I'm going to go to a Kanye show, dude, like a vintage Kanye show. And then to give myself a little throwback of my own hometown, I'm going to go buy myself a West Middle School jersey, like ones that we actually wore because they tore that school down around that time and they just threw all the shit away. And I initially tried to go buy one of my old basketball jerseys. They wouldn't sell it to me because they're dumbasses, and they ended up just throwing it all in the dumpster anyway. And so I would make sure I get one of those basketball jerseys. That's neither here nor there. But Kanye show, that would be cool. And MySpace. Trey, I've got to hear like your thoughts on the year 2005. Like, where are you when you're thinking back to 2005? Are you logging into MySpace or what's happening, man?
Man, I am. This is rough. I think I might be 2 years younger than Miranda, so I was in third grade.
Wow, dude.
But personally, I'm logging into RuneScape and collecting party hats. I don't know if you're familiar with RuneScape.
Yeah.
But I pulled it up. A purple party hat was 2.9 mil in 2005. Who knows what my life would be like today?
Jesus Christ, that's insane. There was that time, when those because gaming on the internet had existed for a few years at the time, but then people started actually creating the economies of it. It was one of the first times you could pay for things like that on the internet. So that is insane.
Yeah. Well, now they're worth like $2,500 a piece.
That was happening. Wasn't that World of Warcraft first coming out? People were selling their characters on them because they were leveled up so good. Stuff like that. Big Scott, he says, I would have warned everyone about Hurricane Katrina and saved thousands of lives. That's a good answer. That was absolutely devastating shit.
So Trey, before we move on to other answers here, just to be clear, and you don't have to dude, no shame in this game. You can't control what year you're born, right? But when I say things like America Online, AOL, that's going to mean nothing to you, I assume. Maybe you know what it is, maybe you fucking don't or don't care. And then MySpace, is it starting to get fuzzy at that point? I'm assuming, third grade, you may or may not have fucked around and had a MySpace, where does it start to make sense?
Well, in hindsight, the Hurricane Katrina comment actually dated that correctly for me. I was in fourth grade. Okay. MySpace was taken off a little bit. Some of us had them. I'm familiar with AOL. I lived kind of out of town, not super far out of town. So we had dial up, but I was an internet kid. Had Yahoo. That was my go-to.
Yeah.
So I used to talk to my uncle on Yahoo Messenger.
Yahoo was basically AOL after AOL kind of collapsed. Once everybody started getting the fast, high-speed internet, then everybody was using web browsers. Yahoo sort of usurped AOL on that. So that makes sense. AOL was definitely an end of the 90s, into the 2000s kind of thing, which I'm really pumped about this movie that's coming out called Y2K. It's being done by Kyle Mooney. It's an A24 movie.
Oh my God!
And it's a comedy horror film about how if Y2K really happened, but it wasn't just computers shutting down. They started creating their own robots to try to take over the world. So, and imagine being at a high school party while that's all happening. That's what this movie's supposed to be about. So that's really great. Looking forward to that one. And Fred Durst is in it. Fuck yeah, Limp Bizkit rules. Gracie, 2005. You wake up.
Depending on what month we're in, I'm either a sophomore or a junior in high school.
So definitely had a MySpace then.
Definitely had MySpace. Definitely used Yahoo Messenger inappropriately. Definitely used AOL Instant Messenger. If I knew what I knew now, I would probably do all of those things like people said, but I was too young to invest in stuff. I didn't even have a job at that point. So what do? I don't know. Pop on AOL Messenger and talk to Megan Boggs, who was my best friend at that point. And then I'll tell myself, he's not worth it. He's dumb. You're a junior in high school. Walk away. That's it. I mean,
very good.
I think one of my favorite things about your question that you posed, JD, is my brain, and I'm happy about this, by the way. This makes me happy inside. My brain was so excited for the nostalgia of the year 2005. It had so many exciting things. We were very young adults, and so it was the world was at our fingertips. And so I did not.
That's what I'm going to kind of get to here, Brian.
Well, I did not for 1 second think about going back and making money. I thought about going back and not only re-enjoying the things that I enjoyed, but then re-upping my experience and enjoying more things. I never once thought about let's control the stock market. I never thought about that, dude.
Well, it's questions like these that kind of make you think about sort of where your head really is about certain things, and that kind of thing. Big Scott was out of high school for 17 years in 2005. That's a long time.
Big Scott was just trying to get to the next, 9 to 5 work day. That's what he was doing.
On to it, just trying to get on. So my answer for this one is, if it was today, and I woke up today on today's date, which would have been November 22nd or something, 2005. Let me set this up for you. I would probably be coming in town to Huntington. This is, I had been starting my sophomore year of college. I would have been coming in town to Huntington, and I would have been texting Brian Ball and saying, "What's up, dude? Is there any sort of party going on this weekend or anything?" Because I'm probably more than likely coming back for Thanksgiving. But what I had been doing more than likely, in 2005, I was living in my first apartment officially on my own with 3 friends who were in a band that I was producing at the time because I wanted to be a record producer. And at the same time, I was writing for what eventually became my band, The Compromise. And we were probably having our first ever practices. And it was on it was in this house where another one of my good friends had lived, and he had this little garage, part to the side. And we were probably playing with our first bassist. We were writing our first songs, what would eventually become the songs that would show up on our album T-Movie soundtrack, which you can listen to on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. So it shows you where I was in 2005. So I was probably waking up, checking my MySpace. I don't even think we had even started a MySpace for the band yet, because the band wasn't even really real yet. But that 2005 was an interesting year for me in that, because Smash 2, so many years later, we'll have released a couple albums. Smash 2 even more years later, and we had released music videos and we're headlining shows and opening up for these people. But in 2005, we were just trying to be rock stars. When we were just, and at the time I was 20 years old. I was going to turn 21. So I was partying and playing rock and roll music and trying to produce records. So
why fuck with the stock market? Look at all this greatness, man.
Just stock market, dude. Yeah. Stock market. If anything, if I could go back to the person that was and just pop in through a dimensional portal and tell them anything, I really would say something along the lines of, don't change anything. Yeah. You're going to be able, dude, for the next 10 years to do this shit that you love, and you're never going to regret it. So boom, that's what I would fucking be doing.
Yeah, we kind of feel the same. And Trey, I will tell you from experience, from somebody that was there as a young adult, something that's very interesting about the year that he chose. So like I said, iPhone doesn't exist. It's never been invented yet. Facebook has just been invented, but essentially it does not exist. So it's there, but it's only for like Harvard and nobody's using it, right? And it was actually called thefacebook.com, just FYI. At that particular time in life. So MySpace exists. MySpace is still competing a little bit with AOL Instant Messenger, which was an offshoot of AOL, which was a program that we all used as kids in the 90s. It's fucking wild times. People have cell phones, but you're getting charged per text message. That's not a joke. Like your mom would tell you.
Talking.
Yeah, if you were like on a cell phone plan with your mom, she'd be like, no, don't go over like 30 texts a month, because if so, it's going to be like $1 a text.
Or you would be calling your friend and you would say, hang on, this is too good of a story, or this is too good of a conversation. I'm going to call you back after 9 p.m. when my calls are going to be free.
Yeah. And I will say, I want to paint this picture for you too. So we had cell phones, but I swear to you, dude, at this particular time in life, 2005, when iPhone doesn't exist and things like that, though we had cell phones, there was no obsession over like texting each other like multiple times. It was more like a text that said, at most, it was a text that would be like, I'll be there at 9 p.m. And your buddy would just show up and knock on the door still. And you wouldn't want to waste any more texts in between that. And also you'd be like, why the fuck are we? Because your little flip phone, you would have to be like 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5. It would take you fucking forever just to even get a text out. So, fast forward, I remember seeing the first iPhone and I was like, what the fuck is that thing? Like, I remember just being mind blown. So it's crazy that, you, even though you're not too far off in age, you just kind of grew up like when you think cell phone, you think iPhone and things like that. But like, man, there was this weird time in life where that shit did not exist.
I think Brian and I could do our own entirely separate podcast about nostalgia for particular years, and we would probably go into details about what happened those years, either in the world or in our life, and it would be insane.
Oh, dude, this is the podcast idea.
Scott, by the way, I just want to say, Big Scott says, I still have an AOL email account. Well, of course you do, bud. You were 35 in 2005.
That's a working account, son. I mean, like that thing. Yeah, that's your work email, your personal email. That's how you get your bills done now. Big Scott, I have to take people's emails down at work. I work in healthcare, and when I have to take down their demographics, you wouldn't be shocked actually at how many people still have an AOL email address. It's like a shocking amount of people. And I also have a shocking amount of people that still have a Hotmail address. And it made me jealous as I was taking down their demographics. I was like, damn, I wish I kept my Hotmail address because it like doesn't exist anymore and I want one. Then I looked into it. You can still get yourself a Hotmail address. So I went and got myself a Hotmail only like a month ago. I got a fresh Hotmail email address right out the gates. Spammed up. Get that shit spammed up. Let's go. Let's fuck up another inbox. Straight up. Hotmail. JD, podcast idea that you just had. We do a podcast, and each episode is just a year. So the episode's called like 1995, and then that's what we do. We just talk about 1995. It's fucking genius. I love it.
It's a really good idea.
I love it.
When Holler expands into the network of podcasts that eventually will, including like my cooking show and Gracie's weird parenting show that she probably wants to do or something, and Brian will probably talk about movies or video games.
Probably, yeah.
And then we do all that. That'll be one of them we add to it. Now, Miranda, she pops in and she says, I had 25 text messages a month when I was in 6th grade. I did not even have enough people to text to use those messages. Yeah, sounds about right.
We downloaded ringtones, Trey. This is a real story. We made fucking ringtones because they cost money. They cost like 99 cents. If I wanted to have, it's a MIDI track is what it was. Yeah. So you would download a MIDI track or make your own and just upload it to your phone. This is back when you had full access to your phone. You just plug that shit into your computer, full access. I miss those days. I hate that everything's locked up. It actually made me kind of like quit computers. I was a computer guy. I noticed on your bio that you are an MIS major. And I was a management information systems major as well, but I changed halfway through Marshall. I changed into sport medicine, so it's completely different. I did a 180 from where I was. I couldn't sit there anymore, dude. I couldn't sit there at the screen. I had to move around.
So we're going to move on to Brian's poll now. That was wonderful. I love the nostalgia. We're always going to be able to talk about nostalgia stuff on the show. So I say, Brian, we'll move on to your poll. We'll go around. We'll see what Holler Nation has to say about that. And then afterward, I'd say we're probably good for the evening.
Yeah, no doubt. And mine is so very stupid, by the way. I still have a couple more questions for Trey, by the way, that I'm going to do after my poll here. My poll is so very stupid. I just want people to replace the word girl in a song title with the word squirrel and make it a new song. And so we've got like tons of great ones on here. So let's just go through them. Squirrel, it's true. Squirrels. All I want is squirrels. This is Lee Payne. She can give us the whole song. Squirrels. All I want is squirrels. In the morning, it's squirrels. Because in the evening, it's squirrels. Squirrels do the day. Lee Payne is going to give us a whole song. Okay, we get it. One of my personal favorites, Matt says, "Fat bottom squirrels." Maddie Kane says, "Squirrels, squirrels, squirrels." It's like Motley Crue's girls song. Rachel, "I'm just a squirrel." And we got a whole sound for Rachel. Where's she at here? I gotta find her somewhere. She's not. By the way, speaking of AOL,
you've got mail.
Did you guys know that guy died? By the way.
Yeah, not too long ago.
What?
Yeah, he passed away. Recently.
You no longer have mail, and I can't find Rachel. So you know what? You raise me Rachel. John says, "Living Dead Squirrel" by Rob Zombie. Corey says, "I Kissed a Squirrel." Joey says, "Uptown Squirrel." Buffy 6 says, "Brown Skinned Squirrel." Party squirrels. Squirrels in the hood. Leia says, "My Squirrel" by The Temptations. Frank says, "Squirrel all the bad guys want." Sophie says, "Who run the world? Squirrels." That might be my favorite one. I'm gonna like it.
one's pretty good. Because what if they do?
Yeah. Summer says, "You're my brown-eyed squirrel." Kayla, I like this one a lot too. Jesse's squirrel. Or are you going to be my squirrel? Jet.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Rail says, "Who run the world? Squirrels."
Mm-hmm.
Nikki says, "Big squirrels don't cry." Sarah says, "Squirrels just want to have fun." Miranda says, "Hot squirrel summer." Ethan says, "About a squirrel." Nirvana. Rainer says, "Squirrel on fire." Hannah, this is another favorite, says, "All about squirrel" by Gwen Stefani. Andrew, one of the new bros, says, "Here's a fun fact. I call Danny Earl Danny Squirrel." I like that a lot. Like that a whole lot. And since everybody took all of the great answers, I'm just going to change a band, and I'm going to call them the Spice Squirrels. That's where I'm
Ryan,
going.
That's your answer for
I
that
know
one?
it's your poll question, but you can't do that. Anyway, I have a list of squirrels.
All right, Gracie, you go.
Barbie squirrel, beautiful squirrels,
William Watts.
material squirrel. Lying is the most fun a squirrel can have. Panic at the Disco.
Mhm.
Waiting for a squirrel like you, foreigner. Where them squirrels at? And steal my squirrel.
Nice.
Steal mine.
Trey,
That's
did you possibly have anyone you think maybe that you could have thought of? Or
Probably Rich Squirrel.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
All notes.
the Hollow Notes. I was gonna say, or the Me First and Gimmy's cover version of it. Yeah, she's a rich squirrel. Come to ball. I've got an ultimate one right here. It's Brian, by somebody that you name dropped earlier in the show. It's by Kanye West. It's Drunken Hot Squirrels.
Oh my God, dude. I love that track, and now I love it even more.
I
And
knew
the
it
rest
was
of the
gonna
Nick
podcast
Scott
is
kissed a squirrel and he liked it, he says.
Surge. Surge likes to kiss squirrels.
okay, Serge. That's enough, man.
All
Good
right,
job.
bud.
You made the podcast. He heard squirrels. He's up. He's ready.
Yep. Well, that was wonderful. That was fantastic.
I've got a couple more
you
questions.
got a couple more questions, Brian? Yeah, you said for Trey, so let's knock them.
Yeah, before we get out of here. And so again, if you're just tuning in, Trey runs this funny parody page. It's, think of it almost along the lines of like a Babylon Bee. It's for a small town in West Virginia, Point Pleasant. We appreciate guys like this because this is what keeps the internet fun and a lot less serious. God, sometimes you just log in and it's just gloom and doom. And so it's real nice to see a page that looks like it's an official government page, and they're threatening to put a Waffle House in the middle of your new Walmart, and it just burns grandma's toast. She's posting about it. So a couple more questions for you. What's a dream that you've always wanted to pursue but you haven't had a chance to yet? We went from squirrels to real deep, didn't we?
Yeah. So I talk about this sometimes with like close friends. I really like my calling, I feel like, is to be like a blacksmith. That would be cool as hell just to do that. Nothing else. I don't want technology. I've got a master's degree in information systems. I hate IT. Like half the time I can't get a printer to work.
Yeah.
I can do all this back end stuff, software engineer stuff.
Full stack.
I lose fistfights with printers every week. But no, I just would love to be a blacksmith, live out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and just be a blacksmith in solitude.
I've got a web development and application design degree, and I'm a bartender, man. I completely understand it. IT sucks.
Yep. I started off as a computer guy, and now I work in sport medicine. So, yep, IT sucks. I would like to write a book. I would like to, if I could just like stop having to go to fucking work and I could like sleep in and get my brain really going, pump some caffeine into that motherfucker and just write. That's what I want to do. That's my dream. We'll see if I can ever get there.
I think mine, because I've made records and I still kind of continue to write music and things like that. So that was a dream when I was a kid and I did it. One thing I think would be fun is to write a really good kind of zeitgeisty comedy movie. Something that like it would be interesting to become another Kevin Smith or another Broken Lizard or another sort of. I would love to do a comedy movie that would, you know how like Judd Apatow and the Apatow people they all kind of are friends and shit. I feel like it would be awesome to do that sort of same thing with friends of mine, and
No doubt. Hey, by the way, speaking of Kevin Smith, got a new 2024 movie out. It's on my Vudu right now, JD. If you want to watch it, it is called The 4:30 Movie. The whole concept is about these two high schoolers that are like in love, and they're trying to meet their crushes at the 4:30 movie theater. It's in the 80s, so everything's retro. All the music. It's a fun little Kevin Smith, as you would assume. Yes. Okay, Trey, another one for you. What's a common misconception that people have about you?
I would say that people have told me that I come off, or that they think that I think people are stupid. Like in general, when I'm talking to somebody. So I ran for office, which now it doesn't matter. I wouldn't have done this podcast when I lost. I ran for Board of Education, but I did and said a lot of things that I think kind of fortified that, but I don't like purposefully come off as condescending if I'm talking about something. And I think that it's just maybe I don't get social cues.
Yeah, that's an easy sort of misconception. It could be a social cue thing. I think I've probably suffered from that too, and it's probably like a tone of voice thing, the way that I speak could kind of affect
I think that's my problem too.
Right, and I feel like politics is weird because it's a different kind of game. It's so unhuman,
I hate
weird. It. Human beings speak in certain ways. You notice this? Politicians speak in completely different ways, and it's like that just seems like that explains that. So some people can't deal with that kind of thing. And also, people are stupid, Trey. I just want to let you know. I don't give a fuck what people if people think I'm condescending. People are stupid. They're dumb as fuck.
Many people are stupid. That's a fact.
So to kind of hammer onto the So this Facebook page stuff, when I ran for board, one of the first things I did, and like this is totally separate, but for some reason I had in my head that it would be wise to post the salary rate, like because every employee's salary, if you work for the school board, is all public. I posted just the PDF of everybody's in the county, and at the time I thought, oh, that's transparent as hell. That's cool. It started like, I don't know, the worst shitstorm I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah.
Over a 30-second decision, and my phone had died halfway through it, and I was busy at work. And I plugged my phone back in. I'm sitting down. You got some downtime at work, and my messenger is just going like, it just says 99 plus, and it's just spam of like, "F you, eat shit, you piece of shit," and it's like it's all public. I didn't. It's not like I broke into the Board of Education and stole all these records and said, "Hey, this person makes this." But oh man, I mean, ultimately it cost me that election, among other things. I let too much of the city of Point Pleasant seep into the Trey Byus from Mason County Board of Education page, I think. And you can't troll and win.
No, you really can't.
Not in a small town, at least, especially like.
Well, unless you're the president-elect. Sorry, I just had to say it. My bad. So Miranda says, "Serge, what is your zodiac sign?"
Well, I think she says also, like, Trey, like, what's your zodiac? She's talking about Serge because he's bombing the show. But Trey, what's your zodiac?
I'm a Virgo.
Just a baby.
Nice. Let's go around. Scorpio here. JD?
Capricorn.
We know you're a Scorpio, Brian.
Thanks.
I'm an Aries.
Damn, we got it covered on this podcast.
Yeah,
it's kind of fucking weird that we're all different.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's the chances?
That's some wild shit.
Okay, final question for you, Trey. Do you think in your lifetime, with honesty here, do you think that you will ever witness a human being step foot on Mars, walking on Mars? Will you see it or not?
I think in my mid-60s.
So you're going with yes. Hannah Edwards in the house. Hannah, good to see you. I don't know if you missed it, Hannah, but I read your answer as one of my favorites. Your squirrel answer, by the way. We got cancers in there.
When you're about 60 years old, that's a pretty cool answer there because that's like, yeah, there's enough time there that can go. I'm going to do a follow-up question for that one. Do you think, Trey, in your lifetime, you will be able to witness some form of extraterrestrial life in either like proof of it in person? You think that's possible in your life?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I could talk for like 3 hours about that. I'll follow like all of the congressional hearings and everything else. Like I think we're already witnessing it. I when they started releasing documents. I mean, there was things going on before, but when the Pentagon started acknowledging like the UAPs and everything, I thought it was really weird that my younger son, who was born in 2020, was born into a world where there's fucking aliens, and the government's like, yeah, we don't know what they are. Could be them, could be us. And that I always thought that was kind of
there's
bizarre,
some weird shit. There was some weird shit popping up on the internet from some like declassified information from the CIA that was talking about a man who could peek into like different times of the past, and he basically saw a civilization on Mars that was like hiding in pyramids, trying to find a way to get off the planet.
I read that.
The planet was being destroyed, and they had to find a way to continue to live. And so they were hibernating in like glass pyramids on Mars. And then they were like, because there's these horrible storms that were happening and all these things are going on. And they found this other planet that was very, very pro-Earth. And they possibly went over there and,
In Bob Lazar, we trust.
Yeah, Bob
That's
Lazar.
a fact. Hey, a fun fact about Point Pleasant. So Men in Black, the movie series that everybody is familiar with, a good chunk of that actually started in Point Pleasant. So after the Mothman, which they blamed for the Silver Bridge collapse, the Men in Black were seen everywhere collecting evidence and talking to whoever had witnessed things. And a lot of those elements from that story made it into the movie that we all love.
Yeah, I've not heard that side of things. That's very interesting. Sophie, what's up, by the way? I also cannot believe that you're awake at past 11 p.m., but yet here we are. Sophie, you missed, I think, the first part of the show. You would have really enjoyed. No, actually, it's like the middle. We talked about JD's poll, which was going back to the year 2005, and I think that's a very fun year for you too, Sophie. These are 8th Street House, the beginning of 8th Street House days, and those are all really good times. Well, dude, I think in our lifetime, I'm going to say we will see someone walk on Mars. I'm going to be very freaking interested in that story because I'm not really sure what the hell we're going to do once we get there, or if they're coming back or not. I am going to be glued to the TV on that one. I'm actually not even sure why we need to do that when we can just send robots there. I'm kind of looking at it now, but I'm all for it, man. I'm all for space exploration. And like you said, I could do a whole podcast on this. I want to talk about gravity right now and how to manipulate it, but we just don't have time.
We just don't have the time for that, unfortunately. Trey, thank you so much for coming to the show. Andrew's listening at Dairy Queen.
Andrew's listening at Dairy Queen. Hell yeah, bro.
Trey, thank you so much for doing the show. Anybody from our area, or even if you're not from it, just follow it because it's a fun page to follow anyway. Go to facebook.com/PTPleasantWV and you'll check out the Point Pleasant, West Virginia big announcements page, which most of the time is going to be trolling your ass, which is also what the majority of the internet does to you anyway, too. So everybody, throw your phone in the river, drown your computer in your toilet, go outside, touch some grass, hike a little bit,
It's cold out there. Absolutely not.
Get back into the real world because the internet makes you stupid.
Thank you so much. That Waffle House in the middle of Walmart.
Trey, thank you so much. You can also, Trey, how can people get, if they're interested in using Riverprint possibly to do any sort of designs or anything, how can they get in touch with you? Maybe via email or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, we've got a Facebook page, facebook.com/Riverprint. Soon to have a website. It'll be riverprint.inc. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for doing the show. We hope you had a good time.
I'm glad you guys had me.
Yeah, the people out there were really fun. Thank you so much. Remember to go to CAMO.energy for all your CAMO Energy needs. It's 250 milligrams of caffeine, no carbs, no sugar, no tropics. Wonderful place. We are proudly powered by them. Also, officialholler.com to check out any of the old episodes. You can go to google.com to search on the internet for things.
It'll be filtered, but you can do that. And Trey, you'll see your episode eventually show up on like Spotify. You'll be on our front page until we have another guest Your face will be there. You'll see it. You'll see it all pop up. We're going to edit the show after this. Well, actually, we don't edit, but we're going to post the show. We're going to upload and everything after this. Right now, I'm going to smash a bunch of buttons. Like JD said, Trey, great having you, man. Great meeting you. We really enjoy your content. And you know what, dude? Keep up the good work. And if you get bored enough with it, you need to create other pages of other cities. Just keep doing it. We need guys like you out there really doing the Lord's work. JD's going to chug on that a little bit as I smash a bunch of buttons here. We're out of here. Gracie, any final words before we smash some buttons?
No, let's get it over with so I can go to bed.
My God, girl, it looks like you are in bed right now. If I'm not
I would
going to lie.
like to be. I'm so tired. Today.
Holy hell. Okay, here we go.
Arby's, we have the meats.
Hot Pockets.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
You make me come.
You've got mail.